Hi, this video is an explanation of the syllabus. I wanted a place where I could walk through it in some depth. We don't have time in class to devote to the kind of careful reading of the syllabus that I'm going to do in this video. So I wanted to have a tool for you that would give you as much information as possible on what this course is seeking to accomplish, its objectives, its nature, what is it about at its essence, the learning activities or the assignments, and the schedule for the semester. And so that's what we're going to do in this video. I'm not going to spend then a long time going over the syllabus in our first class meeting. I'm going to refer instead that you watch this video. So let's jump in. This course is BTS 1850, which I'm sure you know. We're section 04, and the course is called Introduction to the Bible. It's important to know that there's something unique about this course, and that is it's a hybrid course. And we will explain what that means in a moment, but that makes our experience of the learning much different than a traditional course will be. You can reach me at my email address, jwillits@northpark.edu, or my phone, campus phone. Because we're a hybrid, the office hours are going to be by appointment. And so you can make an appointment to either meet me in person on Mondays, the day we have our in-person meetings, class meetings, or via Teams remotely. So if you need to meet up for any reason, you just contact me via email and we'll set up something. As I said, the course is a hybrid. And what that means is there are two basic components to the class. There's in-person, and then there's online. Now, all of the assignments for this class will be completed through Canvas. There won't be any hard copies of assignments turned in. What is a hybrid? Well, over half of our course is traditional face-to-face, or maybe a little less than half. And that face-to-face seat time is replaced by online learning activities. The face-to-face and the online components complement each other. So typically, we will meet on Mondays at our designated time, 8 a.m. to 9:05, face-to-face on campus. Mondays then are on-campus days, face-to-face. Wednesdays and Fridays, we will not be meeting, and those sit times will be replaced by learning activities. You will see when we go over the assignments that there are more assignments than would be typical for a traditional course where you're sitting in a seat for 3 hours during the week. That schedule will be somewhat revised, or greatly revised, the first 2 weeks, given that we're just starting the semester and there are things we need to just kind of figure out and work together toward. And secondly, there's a holiday on our second Monday of class, which always happens every year. Labor Day is always that second Monday. And it's just a very disruptive day to have a holiday, because we just started first week and then we have a day off. So what we're going to do is for the first 2 weeks, we're going to meet either in person once or virtually 4 times. So Monday, our first day of class, we're meeting face to face. And then Wednesday, the following week, Wednesday of that week, the first, we're going to meet face to face, but it's going to be remotely via Teams. And then Friday, the 3rd, we'll meet again face to face, but again, it will be remotely. We don't have class on Monday, the 6th, but then we'll have class Wednesday and Friday, again, through Teams. So be aware that while traditionally we will only meet for class face-to-face once a week on Monday mornings at 8 a.m., for the first 2 weeks, we will be meeting Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. The 2 Wednesdays, the 2 Fridays, the 1 Monday. Now, the purpose of face-to-face aspect of the course is twofold. We'll both look backward toward what we learned from the previous week, and we will look forward to what we will learn in the next week. I will orient or provide an overview of the content for the coming week and tie up loose ends from the week before. The online component involves assessments like tests and assignments, but also learning materials like videos or perhaps a scanned chapter of something that you need to read. But you'll do all of your work through Canvas this semester in this course. Now, that's a hybrid, and I provided this little table or table to represent how the hybrid works, and you can, for just further reaffirmation of what a hybrid is, you can look at that. Now, the course description. What is this course? Well, very simple. It's an introductory survey of the history and theology of the biblical narrative as it informs Christian faith today. According to the catalog, particular emphasis is on the theology, the theological unity of the Bible's message. There are 3 categories here that I want to emphasize that provide the foundation for how you should think about what this course is and what you should expect from this course. The first category is an introductory survey. The way I like to talk about it is my goal, my objective for this class, if I boil it down to one, is that you become conversant about the Bible, that you are able to have an informed conversation with someone about what the Bible is, how it got to be what it is, what it's about, and what Christians do with it, how it functions in the life of Christian faith. So we are not making you experts in the Bible. You're not going to have to memorize lots of dates, lots of names, lots of events. My goal is that by the end of class, you have a pretty good sense of the history, the culture, and the literary context of the Bible, and that you have a fairly good grasp of what the Bible is about from cover to cover. It's an inch wide. No, the other way around. It's an inch deep and a mile wide kind of knowledge. Now, the second category that we need to emphasize here for this course is Christian. North Park University is unapologetically Christian. It believes that as a university, it's best in educating students when it is being Christianly. And a Christian approaches the Bible differently than other faiths would approach the Bible. We approach the Bible at North Park with what you might call a hermeneutic of trust. By that, I mean, we give the Bible the benefit of the doubt. We come to the Bible with an open mind and a willing heart. And we ask God to speak through his word to us personally. And so when a Christian reads the Bible, they don't read it purely for historical interest or for philosophical understanding, although both of those are part of reading the Bible Christianly. But primarily, they want to know, what must I do with what I've read and what I've learned? That doesn't mean you have to be a Christian. In fact, many students here are would not self-attest to being Christian or only marginally Christian. But it's to say that as an introduction to the Bible at a Christian university that is unapologetic about being Christian, it means that part of understanding an introduction to the Bible is understanding how Christians view it and use it. And so there'll be a component of our class where we think about not only the Bible as an ancient text, which it is, in a very foreign context to our 21st century, it nevertheless demands, from a Christian perspective, that the question, what does it mean for me? What does it matter today? That question must be asked. So Christian is another component of the introduction to the Bible, unique at North Park. Finally, the third category, not only an introduction or being conversant, not only Christian, but unity, the unity of the Bible's message. This course presumes that the Bible has one big mega story that begins in the first book of the Bible and ends in the last book of the Bible. Now we'll discover that the Bible isn't written in chapters. It wasn't formed from beginning to end by one person weaved together to tell one story. We have 66 different documents in the Bible, 66, written by many authors. Over 40 different authors wrote texts that are now in the Bible. So this isn't like any book you've read before, but it is properly bound by covers, because within the two covers, the different texts, letters, case laws, historical narratives, biographies, these disparate pieces of literature tell a big story. And there's a unity between what we call the Old Testament, or the former Testament, and the New Testament. These are two sections that the Bible is divided into, the Old or former Testament and the New Testament. And we'll discover that those two sections form the basis of this larger grand story. So that's a really thick description of our class: conversant understanding, Christian presupposition, and a intentionality in discovering the unity of its message. Now, when it comes to course objectives, it gets a little confusing, because I have two sets of objectives. I have the idea course objectives, and then I have specific course objectives. Now, this really doesn't have to be that confusing if you just understand that in the first case, I'm referring to that tool that we use at North Park called the idea survey, where at the end of each semester, students are given a link to a survey to evaluate their class experience. And the evaluation is based on 3 objectives. And so you're going to be evaluating the course by whether or not we accomplished these 3 things. Did we gain a basic understanding of the subject? Did we learn to apply knowledge and skills to the benefit of others? Did we learn how to find, evaluate resources and to explore a topic in depth? Did we accomplish those things? Because if we did, then we reached the intended goal. If we didn't, then we failed somewhere, and we need to figure out what we did wrong and correct it. So you need to know those objectives, because you'll be taking a survey and you'll be evaluating the class and your professor based on whether or not we accomplished these 3. Now, you can see that they're very general. Many different course subjects could use these 3 learning outcomes. And so to complement them, I created specific objectives for this course. And these are the objectives that I'm interested in pursuing directly with you. So you'll be able to discuss the Bible's composition history, its formation, its history, its geography, its literary context. You'll know something about the Bible as an artifact. You'll be able to communicate the kingship story of the Bible from Genesis to Revelation. You will reflect on the Bible's significance for yourself. Again, whether you're a Christian or not, what is its significance to you, and as well to the wider human community. You'll interpret a Bible passage, actually 5, in their literary and historical cultural contexts. You'll present a Bible's, actually 5 passages, their message for a 21st century world concern. So we'll study a passage and then we'll ask, as the last task, what does it have to do with today? Does it have anything to do with today? Can it inform the way a Christian should live their life? And then number 6, you're going to draw the grand story, the grand kingdom story of the Bible, kingship story of the Bible, through stick art and episodic narration. You're going to learn 18 different episodes that comprise the kingship story of the Bible. And with each of these 18 episodes, you're going to be taught a stick art figure. So you're going to learn the stick art figure, and you're going to become familiar enough with the description that you can tell the story of that episode. And so that is a significant objective for the course. All right, moving on to course textbooks. You will be pleasantly surprised, I think, that there are only 3, and you actually may have one of them already. You need, number 1, a modern translation of the Bible. Modern translation would be something like what you might call the NIV, the New International Version, or the NRSV, or the ESV. And there are many of them. You can find these actually through your mobile device as well at Bible Gateway. That's an E, by the way, BibleGateway.com. And it just has to be that's not God, by the way, that's BibleGateway.com. And this is supposed to be an E. And that's not an F, that's a B, that's an E. What you don't want to use is something like the King James Version. Do not use the King James Version. You can use the new King James Version, the NKJV, but you can't use the KJV. You know why? Because it was translated in 1611. And in case you haven't checked, it's 2021. That's a long time. So use a modern translation. Just screw this off so I'm not confused. The second textbook, or really the first textbook you need to buy, is called the IVP Atlas of Bible History. You will need this right away, so don't hesitate to get it. It is in our library, and it will be available there. But you'll need that because even in the first week, you have an assignment out of that textbook. Second textbook for our class is by Wall and Nienhuis, sorry. the Compact Guide to the Whole Bible. Compact Guide to the Whole Bible. I abbreviate it as CGWB in the syllabus, so I don't have to write out the Compact Guide to the Whole Bible all the time. So those are the two textbooks, really 1 and 2, with perhaps you might already have this one in your belongings somewhere, or a relative perhaps would. You can also get one out of the library. The library has lots of Bibles. So you could get a copy of the book, of the Bible, modern translation, out of the library. Shouldn't be much question about that. Now, the next category is one that is most important for our purposes to understand what the course is going to require. And as I mentioned to you earlier, because this is a hybrid course, because we only will meet face-to-face, in person, seated in chairs, once a week on Mondays, there are going to be more assignments, more learning activities will be required of you outside of that time, which only makes sense. So we have 9 different learning activities to go over. I will not try to be thorough in any of these at this time. There'll be plenty of chance to be more specific in future. But these assignments mostly will be something we involve ourselves in through the whole of the course. A couple of the assignments are kind of one-offs, like the Bible Basics Bible study test. You know, you're not going to take that more than once. That's one and done. But reading quizzes, for example, you'll be taking reading quizzes on the Compact Guide to the Whole Bible throughout the whole course. The second observation I want to make is that because there are so many assignments, 9, the weight of any one assignment is not catastrophic. So I hope this doesn't happen. But if for some reason you were not able to do any of the miscellaneous short assignments, assignment number 3, if you didn't do one of them, that is only going to cost you 5% of your grade. If you didn't do any of the journals, number 9, you have to do one every fortnight, which is basically one every 2 weeks. If you didn't write one of those journals, it would only cost you 5% of your grade. So because we have so many assignments, no one assignment will sink you, or no one learning activity will sink you. It is an accumulation of several, almost a handful of assignments that make up your grade. Okay, well, let's jump in and go over these briefly. I don't know that we have to say much about reading quizzes. You'll take a reading quiz over the chapters in the Compact Guide to the Whole Bible. Learning activity, assignment number 2 is a test. And in the first 2 weeks of our course, we're going to be in a module called An Introduction to Biblical Studies, where we're going to learn about the basics of the Bible, and we're going to learn an easy method to studying the Bible. And at the end of those 2 weeks, there's going to be an exam, that an objective exam that tests you over the content of those first 2 lectures. Assignment 3, miscellaneous shorts. Various short learning activities I have you do don't easily fit into a category. So I have created a catch-all category where itsy bitsy assignments, like watch a 3-minute video and write 5 things you learned. That kind of short assignment will go in this miscellaneous shorts assignment category. Number 4, key Bible readings discussions. Each week, as we move through the semester, we will cover an episode or episodes of the Bible's kingship story. Often we're only dealing with one episode a week, but sometimes we have to deal with more than that, given the number. We have 18 episodes we have to cover this semester. In our conversations in class, and the learning activities generally over, or the materials, learning materials over the content, it's general in its nature. It's a description of a story that is comprised of many details that are not being addressed. Any one story has many smaller bits to it that we're just going to overlook because for the sake of time, we can't consider everything. So it also, looking at it so generally and from such a descriptive nature, hides the fact that these stories emerge out of primary texts, a primary text, the Bible. And so to complement our study at a broad level of description, you're going to be reading key biblical texts that make up the Bible's episode for that week. So if we're talking about creation and human divine kingship as our first story, you will read several passages out of the Bible that discuss that story, so that you can see that the story that we're describing comes directly from the Bible. And while the story I tell does not match perfectly or exactly the story in the Bible, it does square. And so you can check up on my work, in other words. But also, and more essential, is you will have a grounding then in the actual text of the Bible for yourself. Well, you'll read these readings, and then each week you'll have discussions with classmates over the course of the weekend. Those are going to be with us week in and week out once we get through the first 2 weeks. When we get into module 2 and the kingship story of the Bible, the Old Testament story, you will have a discussion every week. This is worth 15% of your grade, and because of that, you can see that it is, in this case, rather heavily weighted, because of the commitment that you'll need to make to participate in these discussions. Number 5 is Atlas exercises. You will, through the course of the semester, complete many Atlas exercises. The Atlas is comprised of topics, and there are tens of topics, and each topic is presented on 2 pages. So imagine a book laying open with a left-hand page and a right-hand page. A topic will be presented on those 2 pages. You will be doing an exercise for selected topics out of that atlas. And you'll be doing a lot of them because the content of the course is dependent in some ways on how much of your own effort is put into learning material and not just getting it from a lecture. And so this will be, you might say, a teacher, one of our instructors. This atlas will be one of our main instructors, in fact, for this course, along with me. Number 6, Bible studies. You'll complete 5 Bible studies, which are essentially brief projects, brief writing assignments, where you present an interpretation of a Bible passage. You'll be given a passage of scripture, a text that you have to read carefully and study, and then present its meaning in its own context, historical, cultural, literary. And then you'll have to venture an imagination of how this message of an ancient text can shape how one lives in the present as a Christian. In the second week of our course, we will go over a method, a 3-step method or a 3-task method, not a step method. There are 3 tasks that must be completed to do a Bible study accurately. The 7th is the KSOB presentation or presentations. Probably I should have an S there. So assume there is an S right there, because you're going to be making more than one presentation. You're going to be making presentations. Now, what does KSOB mean? And you're going to see that abbreviation more than once. KSOB means Kingship Story of the Bible. Kingship Story of the Bible. So you're going to be making Kingship Story of the Bible presentations. Now, what are these? Students will summarize episodes and draw stick figures for the 18 episodes through the semester. So we will cover a episode. Again, first episode we're covering is creation and human divine kingship over the earth. There is a description and there is a piece of artwork, stick artwork. You will familiarize yourself with those 2 things. You'll practice drawing in the art, and you will go over sufficiently a number of times to be able to talk about the story, and you will video yourself making a presentation of that episode, and you'll submit that short video weekly. Then twice during this semester, you're going to be doing a more lengthy presentation. First, after the Old Testament section is over, and this will be due on November 8th, or there around. And then another after the New Testament section around or on December 13th. The first presentation will comprise about 11 episodes. So in one presentation, you're going to go over 11 episodes. In the second presentation at the end of the semester, it's cumulative, and you have to present all 18 of the episodes of the story of the Bible. So by the end of the semester, my goal is that you can very conversantly trace the story, themes, persons of the Bible, and have some grasp of what the Bible is about. Not vaguely, but in particular. Number 8, the Kingship Story of the Bible content diagram exam. This will be the last thing you do for this class. Exam week, you will take an exam over the content diagram that I will introduce you to a bit later. And you'll be required to answer questions around the categories of story sections, parts, key figures, so on and so forth. So you'll become familiar with what that means later, but that will be essentially a final exam, but it really is just a test on one diagram. And then finally, every 2 weeks, you will write a journal entry of no less than 200 words. And in this journal entry, you will reflect on your unique personal, personal learning experience, personal experience of learning at various weeks of the course. So the first time you write a journal entry, it will be at the end of the second week of school. You'll have had 2 weeks of this course. And in that journal entry, you're going to reflect on your experience of learning. You're not going to tell me about what you learned so much as you're going to be telling me how you learned and what it felt like to learn, and the experiential nature of the learning process. That is the journal. It is not a summarization of content. It is a reflection of experience. And you'll do that 7 times over the course of the semester. So those are the learning activities. We have quizzes, we have the Bible basics, Bible study test, miscellaneous shorts, key Bible readings, discussions, atlas exercises, Bible studies, KSOB presentations, KSOB diagram, content diagram exam, and journal entries. Now here's a list of them in order from 1 to 9 with their percentages. Again, a handful of assignments, more than would be typical of a traditional course, but because it's a hybrid, this is to be expected. Less seat time, more learning activity opportunities. There's the grading scale, pretty typical. I'm gonna get a drink of water, and then we're gonna look at the schedule and see how some of these things are gonna work themselves out from week to week. So as I have noted, the first 2 weeks of our course, we're looking at Module 1, an introduction to biblical studies, basics of the Bible, and Bible study. The first week, we will look at the Bible basics. The second week, we will look at Bible study. Notice a couple of things. First, I organized the class by weeks, not by days. So when you look through the row of week number 1, you'll see our week's topic, and then you'll see a list of exercises. These are learning activities that will be due by the end of the week. An academic week for this class begins on Monday and goes through Sunday. That is our academic week. So the week begins on Monday, and I give the date of that Monday, 8:30, and it ends not on the first day of the week. Well, it ends on the first day of the week. So the first day of the week is the last day of our academic week. Most of your assignments will be due on Friday during this semester. You begin working on Monday for the week, and you submit your assignments by 11:59 p.m. on Friday night. For a couple of assignments, their due date is actually Sunday at 11:59 rather than Friday. And this has to do with the things like the journal or the discussion, because the journal and the discussion require reflection over material. And so in order to do the discussion, you first have to have spent time studying the key passages, reading them carefully. So we put the journal and the discussion at the end, the tail end of the week. The first post in the discussion has to be submitted by 3 p.m. on Friday. And the process of the discussion will go through Sunday at 11:59. The journal article or the journal entry needs to be submitted by 11:59 on Sunday, but everything else would be submitted on Friday by 11:59. Let's see how this works out in some of these weeks. Let's take the first, since this is what we're going to be looking at straight away, these first 2 weeks. So I am having you study the syllabus, which means you're going to watch this video. You have to do that. That's the learning assignment this week. You need to study the first 2 chapters of the Complete Guide to the Whole Bible and take a quiz over those 2 chapters. You have to complete 1 atlas exercise. Exercise number 1, which is the topic is what is the Bible? And then you need to review the Bible Basics lecture, which is a video, or well, it's not really a video. That's actually not accurate. It's a lecture on PowerPoint. It's a PowerPoint lecture. It's a PowerPoint lecture. So that's the first week. Now, there isn't something to turn in for the review or for the study of the syllabus. There's nothing to turn in. But those are learning assignments. You will have to finish the quiz by 11:59 on Friday. Friday, 11:59. You will also have to finish the exercise out of the atlas by Friday, submit it by Friday, 11:59. Make sense? Okay, then the second week, we're talking about Bible study. And here, you will be doing, during this week, you'll be doing Bible study practice exercises. There are 2 practice exercises. Now, this will be a bit different week as well, because one of the days of the week is a holiday. So the due dates are shifting this week, such that you actually don't have anything you have to take and turn in on Friday. So this is a completely odd week because of the holiday, Labor Day. Kind of messes everything up. So you will be turning stuff in from this week the following week to give you more time. But you'll review the Bible study method lecture, which again will be a PowerPoint lecture, like the Bible Basics. You will write up your first journal entry, which you turn in on Sunday, right? By 11:59. And then you take the Bible Basics Bible study test. And if I'm not mistaken, I think you have to have that done by Sunday at 11:59. But we would need to double check what the due date is on that. I can't remember off the top of my head. Exercises 1 and 2 will be due Monday and then Wednesday, respectively, the following week. To do one more, let's talk about week 4, because there's a lot going on in week 4. And so it illustrates a lot of what we're saying in be a typical week for us. Because week 1 is not really typical, week 2 is not really typical. So since we have a bunch of stuff going on in week 4, let's discuss that. It is a big week of content. Well, in week 4, which begins on Monday, 20th, and ends on the following Sunday, we will be covering 2 episodes, episode 2 and episode 3, Humanity's Failed Coup and the Forefathers. The learning activities for the week are these. You will need to complete Atlas exercises, numbers 3 through 7, Flood, Nations and Languages, Mesopotamia, Patriarchs, Biblical Evidence, the Patriarchs, Archaeological Evidence. So you will do an assignment, a short, brief assignment for each of these topics. It'll be the same form. There are 3 parts to the exercise, and you'll apply the same 3 parts to each of these exercises. It will be one assignment that you'll turn in, that you'll complete, but it will have these 5 exercises within it. So whenever you have multiple exercises in a week, you put them all together in one assignment document. Make sense? So by Friday at 11:59, you will have to submit the Atlas exercises. So that's one. That's one. Two, you study the key Bible readings and join in this week's key Bible reading discussion. The key Bible readings will be handed out. You will have a document that has all of the texts that you need to read. So it's right there for you at your fingertips. And you study those and then participate in the discussion. This week as well, you have your second journal entry. And in this case, you think about the last 2 weeks of time. So since the last journal entry, what has been your learning experience? So you're considering it. You did a journal entry on the 6th, the week of the 6th. You turned it in on the 12th. And so since the 12th, what has your learning experience been like? Again, at least 200 words. And that is due when? Sunday. Right? 4, you have your miscellaneous shorts, and there'll be a couple there in that week. So there'll be 2 videos, 3 minutes long, 3 to 5 minutes long, with a little assignment, summary assignment after. And then number 5, you will, by Friday, and that's due Friday. It's due Friday. By Friday, you will submit your summary presentation for the 2 episodes, Humanity's Failed Coup and the Forefathers. So of these, 2 and 3 are due on Sunday. Numbers 1, 4, and 5 are due on Friday. That makes sense? Now, that week as well, you have a 6th assignment. I don't know why that's going up there, but that's due on that week. Hopefully, it is one you have already started to work on. In fact, you should start to work on this as soon as we finish the module, the week of the Bible study module, where you learn a methodology. But that week as well, by Friday, 11:59, you will turn in your first Bible study over Genesis 22, 1 through 19. You'll have all the information you need about that when we go over the material in the second week. So needless to say, there are six learning activities that are due that week. And that is representative of what is one of the thicker weeks of content. Some weeks have more than others. But that week happens to be one that has a pretty thick amount of content. Well, learning activities, pretty thicker number of learning activities. Just if we scroll down, then we can see the rest. The next Bible study is due on the 18th, on the week of the 18th, not the 18th actually, but the Friday. And that's going to be over 2 Samuel 7. And you can see that really things don't change much. There's a certain kind of assignments, certain kinds of assignments that we'll do every week, and they don't change. So there aren't surprises. Some of the Bible Atlas exercise weeks have quite a few topics. Say, for example, week 7, week 8, particularly week 9, but then week 10 have little. The third Bible study assignments to the week of the 10th. Sorry, the week of the first, even the first. There, you see here you turn in your first that Old Testament presentation of the episodes of the Old Testament, not on the 8th, but on Friday. Should be what, the 13th, probably. I'm thinking. That's right. You can check it. Notice that the next Bible study is week 12. And you have probably noticed that since the second Bible study, they come every other week. So come Bible study 2, when you complete that, you'll have a Bible study every other week too. So you basically have 2 weeks to work on the Bible study. At the end of the semester, the Kingship Story of the Bible presentation, the cumulative one, both Old Testament story and New Testament story, is due on the 13th. And that's the day of the 13th, not the week of the 13th, but the day of the 13th. And your Kingdom Story of the Bible content diagram exam is due on the 15th. All of these are going to times. All right, moving then to the policy statements. I really don't want to take time to walk through these in any detail. Please, please, please be careful that you don't plagiarize. Very easy. I have students, most semesters, I have at least one student who accidentally plagiarizes because they don't understand what plagiarism is. I give you 4 aspects of plagiarism that you should know well. There will be opportunities to plagiarize in this class. You will be using resources to do your Bible studies, and you will use them and want to gain information from them to answer your questions that you'll have, fill in information that you need, and you will inevitably summarize material out of them, or you might quote from them, and you need to cite your sources. And I am very specific on how I want you to do that. There is real danger if you plagiarize. At the very least, the assignment will be a 0. At worst, you could be expelled from school. So it's no joke, no joke. Students with disabilities, we value all our students and want to make a learning experience possible for all. And we're going to bend over backwards to make sure that you have what you need to be at your best and to achieve your fullest potential. So if you need some accommodations, please contact our student engagement and get those set up and get them to me, and I will do my very best to help you by supporting the accommodations that you've determined are necessary. Title IX, there should be no discrimination or harassment anywhere around this class, inside the classroom, through discussions, anything, anywhere. I'm not stupid enough to know that it can't happen, but there should be no hint of any kind of harassment. And if you discover that you're being harassed or you feel that you are, this information can be your go-to to contact our Title IX coordinator, Kim, and get help. Attendance, you'll demonstrate your attendance by being in class on Mondays. I'll take attendance. And by your participation on Canvas. I can map your participation on Canvas. I can see how many hours or minutes, depending, you spend on Canvas. I can see how you're doing with your assignments. Are you staying up with your assignments? Are you, getting things done on time? All of that will suggest your attendance in our class. Since we will meet once a week in class, there is the COVID-19 classroom policy, and I would hope that we're all on board with it. Read it carefully yourself. You'll have to read that for every class. So there you go. In our final bit of time, I want to show you two diagrams, two pictures that will be with us the whole semester and kind of bring some of the pieces of what we've been discussing through the syllabus together. This is the Kingdom Story of the Bible content diagram. This is the diagram that you'll be tested over at the end of the semester. All the content of our whole course is essentially, in one way or another, on this diagram. We're treating the Bible as a unified story. If you look at the top rows, you have story sections, you have titles of those sections. The Bible's story has a beginning, Genesis 1 through 11, the beginning, the middle, Genesis 12 through Revelation 20, and the end, the apocalypse, Revelation 21 and 22. Beginning, middle, and end. This diverse book of 66 different documents written by over 40 authors have been brought together in such a way that they actually present a grand story. And I mapped that in this diagram. I've further divided then the beginning, middle, and end into acts in a 4-act play. The first act is divine human kingship established in creation. The second act is human kingship lost in what's typically called the fall. We're calling it the coup. Act 3 is divine human kingship incognito. And then the last act is human divine kingship reclaimed. The Bible's story is about kingship over the earth and the way God created the earth, and he created a relationship with a human he created to be a loyal partner in managing and tending and administrating the earth. That loyal partnership is destroyed by a rebellion, a coup. And the story of the Bible is a reclamation project to reclaim that unity of divine human kingship over the earth. And so the whole Bible's beginning, middle, and end is about this theme of kingship. If you look at the bottom box, you see I have two statements. One is that the story of the Bible is the story of David, King David, in the Old Testament, and David, King David's greater son, Jesus of Nazareth. Here in Middle Act 3, you have the Old Testament. King David is the key figure in the Old Testament. And in the New Testament, here in part 2, you have King Jesus, Jesus of Nazareth, as the key figure. King David and David's greater descendant, Jesus of Nazareth. The story of the Bible is the story of these relatives in God's project of reclamation of kingship. What's the theme of the Bible? The theme of the Bible's story is reclamation of divine human kingship over the earth or over creation. That's the theme of the Bible story. Reclamation of divine human kingship. This diagram has several pieces of information, and I just want to point out the key episodes here. You can see the 18 episodes that I have referenced, from creation and human kingship established to the new heavens and the new earth. And our project this semester will be to walk progressively through these 18 episodes through the narrative plot. Now, along the way, we're going to meet key figures. We're going to be introduced to core relationships, covenants that God makes with individuals and with the nation of Israel. We're going to be introduced to key themes. And all of this is rooted and emerges out of the texts of Scripture. This whole edifice is built on the key texts that are listed here and others. Now, just one final illustration that further puts the story of the Bible into a schematic. This is the Kingdom Story of the Bible's plot map. And you can notice, I think, that the similarities, you have the beginning, middle, and end of the story. You have Genesis 1 through 11, Genesis 12 through 20, Genesis 12 through Revelation 20, and Revelation 21 and 22. Every story has a plot, and a plot is made up of several components. You have the exposition of the plot, you have of the story, you have the conflict, you have the rising action, you have the climax of the plot, you have the falling action, and then you have the resolution. We can map the story of the Bible out through this plot. And representative of the episodes are these red numbers. Exposition of the plot takes place in Genesis 1 and 2. Conflict is presented in Genesis 3 through 11. And then the rising action takes us through some 15 episodes of the Old and New Testament, climaxing in Revelation chapter 11, 15, and 19, 11 through 21, with then the falling action of a number of more scenes that take us to the resolution of the plot at the very end of the story. So when we think of the Bible and its unity, we're thinking literarily, we're thinking story, we're thinking episodes. And our course is going to be a pursuit of that Bible story from its exposition in Genesis 1 and 2 to its resolution in Revelation 21 and 22. The first two books of the Bible, the last two books of the Bible, the exposition, the resolution, and everything in between. Both of these charts or diagrams will be partners for us through the course of the semester. Well, thanks. I hope that was extremely informative, if not a bit long, but better lengthy and complete than not in something like a syllabus explanation. If you have any further questions, If I've not answered something or I've confused you more, don't hesitate to send me an email, and I will answer your question as soon as I am able. Bye.